Hello, we would like to thank everyone who came out for the discussion of Korea Reborn, bringing the past to the present for the future. In this installment, Commander Whitmore opens the discussion about the Pusan Perimeter. Please enjoy.
Okay, last time we talked about the preparation for the war and what led up to it. What I'd like to do now is go for the first couple of months of the war and the things that happened. Obviously, any given day in Korea from the 25th of June till the 1950 to 27th of July 1953, you could talk for 24 hours and not cover everything that happened in Korea. But on 6/25/1950, at 0400, between 40 and 50,000 North Koreans of the 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, and 12th Divisions of the People's Republic of Army and the 105th Tank Division invaded the Republic of Korea at 11 points. An advance party had already crossed the Imjin River and was in place. President Syngman Rhee held an emergency government meeting and called on the U.S. Commission to call for a ceasefire and request the U.S. supply arms to South Korea. Both of those happened. And President Truman promised aid in terms of arms. UN Security Council holds a special session and adopted the U.S. proposed ceasefire resolution. Russia was absent from that meeting, and Yugoslavia abstained. Everyone else agreed to the resolution. Truman authorized U.S. Air Forces and U.S. Navy to operate only south of the 38th parallel. We had K-MAG people in place in Korea, but very precious few, and the U.S. Navy was operating in the general area at that time. On the 26th, North Korea bombed Kimpo and Yoido airports. United States Mustang engaged with a Soviet-made Yak. That was the first air battle, and I was not able to find out how it came out. But that was on the day after the beginning. The UN Commission on Korea reports to the UN Secretary General that the North's aggression was a deliberate, all-out invasion of the Republic of Korea. On the 27th, MacArthur was designated Commander of Military Operations. He was in Japan as Supreme Commander after the capitulation of the Second World War. We still occupied Japan following that war. On the 28th, the North invaded Seoul and made its first entry into the city of Seoul. Britain and the Philippines announced intention to supply armed force to the ROK. They were the first two to respond to the request. The United Nations Security Council adopted a resolution of military support for South Korea. On the 30th, Task Force Smith was first organized, which was the first organized U.S. resistance. First units of the 24th Division flew out of Itazuki under the command of Colonel Charles Bradford Smith. There were 406 troops of the 1st Battalion, 21st Regiment, 135 troops from A Battalion, 52nd Field Artillery. Far fewer than half the authorized strength, half the required headquarters personnel, half of communications platoon, half of a heavy weapons platoon. They had 6 obsolescent M9A 1 bazooka rocket launchers, 105 millimeter howitzers, 6 obsolescent M9A1 bazookas, rocket launchers, 6 105 millimeter howitzers with 1,200 heavy explosive rounds. Then these were not effective against the M34 tanks. They had few 57 millimeter recoilless rifles. General Dean, William Dean, message to the Task Force Alpha was simply says, when you get to Pusan, head for Daejeon. We want to stop the North Koreans as far from Pusan as possible. Make contact with General Church if you can. If you can't find him, go to Daejeon and beyond if you can. I'm sorry I can't give you more information. That's all I've got. Good luck and God bless you and your men. Task Force Alpha talked about preparedness a la Task Force Alpha, said achieving impossibly ambitious training objectives by recording training that never occurred. These people had no training. Leo was with the occupation army in Japan, and he said that their troops were trained so that they could withhold a frontal attack by a geisha girl. The Battle of Osan was the first real battle that happened on the 5th of July. 504 infantry against 5,000 North Korean infantry and a column of Soviet-built T-34-85 tanks against which the Task Force Alpha had no defense. The outcome of that battle was for losses, 60 killed, 21 wounded, 82 POWs. 1 howitzer was destroyed, and 5 howitzers were disabled. It was a disaster. There was no, they just weren't able to hold up against the superior forces. UN Security Council adopted a resolution to establish a United Nations command and required the U.S. supported and required the U.S. appointed a commander. The Supreme Commander of Allied Powers was established and MacArthur is appointed. Harry Truman was adamant that the UN be in control of the war against Russia. There was very great fear of starting a war with Russia, and it was felt that by having the UN in command would lessen the likelihood of that. On the 10th of July, 25th Division arrived in Pusan, and 5th Air Force moved to Korea. On the 13th of that month, the 8th Army commander Walton Walker was named commander of the UN forces in Korea. He was killed on the 23rd of December of that year in a Jeep accident. Major General Dean is reported missing on the 20th. He was a POW and highest ranking POW in American history. General MacArthur's first report to the UN stated, "The enemy has lost its opportunity to take advantage of a favorable position." That's kind of the garbage that MacArthur was capable of later came to pass with the Chinese. They discounted the possibility that the Chinese would become involved. Said we're not worried about what goes on with a few Chinese washer men. On the 28th of September, U.S. naval forces sank 12 North Korean transport ships in the West Sea. And the Canadian Air Force participated at that time. On the 1st of August, ROK and UN forces build a Nakton defense line. The 1st U.S. Marine Brigade arrives in Korea. On the 3rd of August, the Pusan Perimeter is set, and it's defended by 141,808 allies, 82,000 ROK, 47,000 U.S., 12,808 other nationals. Now that was a perimeter of 140 miles, and if you consider the number of people on that line, I mean, they were sometimes 12 feet apart. Was not a very good defensive line. Were any of you on perimeter? No? Okay. The perimeter came from east to west above Daegu, and then cut sharply to the south to include Pusan. On the 5th, the UN forces held off the North Korean offensive against the Nakton defense line. The Republic of Korea division is led by General Paik Sun-yup. I'm not sure that he was the General Paik Sun-yup was the commander of that. I'm sure he was involved. He was a first four-star ROK general, and I met his daughter last year. Very nice lady. 8:15 after sheltered after UN artillery unit was shelled. 3 North Korean Army battalions on a after UN artillery shelled 3 North Korean Army battalions on a beachhead 32 miles southwest of Daegu, Kim Il-sung ordered, send everything to the front line. On the 19th, General MacArthur, General L.J. Collins, Army Chief of Staff, and Admiral F.D. Sherman, Chief of Naval Operations, met in Tokyo, and for the first time discussed Incheon landing. We'll talk more about that next time. On the 28th, the Air Force was quite busy. They dropped 326 tons of bombs on a metalworking factory, 234 tons of bombs on military facilities, and 500 tons of bombs on military bases and troops. And that sort of closed out the month of August. Next month we'll talk about the Incheon landing. Anyone have any questions or comments?
That was our discussion for the Pusan Perimeter. I hope you'll join us next time when we talk about the Incheon landing. It'll be the second Saturday of next month. We hope to see you there. Remember, if you'd like to join us, we'll be at 2204 Mingy Drive in Hampton, Virginia, and it's the Hampton Elks Lodge 366. We hope to see you there. If you would like more information about the Korean War Veterans Association, please text me at 757-707-6499. I look forward to hearing from you.